So today we will take up the next verse. Before that, let us understand what this verse is about. When we ask if the suffering is in a situation, if the suffering is caused by a person, if a suffering is caused by people, relations, the answer is no, but our mind feels that you are responsible for my suffering. You are responsible for my problem and the pain. It is because we subjectify. The problem still remains in the mind. But I subjectify and then I feel that you are responsible for my problem, for my pain, for my suffering. Do you know? Do you understand what I'm saying? And that is where the delusion takes over. And that is why we make a statement, I'm single, I'm unhappy. It's better to divorce, then I will be happy. So happiness is neither in the divorce, nor in the marriage, nor in being single. But when I say I'm single, that's why I'm unhappy. It is making the outer situation subjective. I lose the objectivity. That is why we all have these challenges in our life. And when I become subjective, then when I make the words subjective, there the delusion takes hold of it. You see how the master is going step by step to help us understand the ignorance. Commitment to the self-discovery helps us to reach to the higher consciousness. There is another meaning also. We're going beyond the likes and dislikes. Now, I told you that women, I have a girl at work and I that I deal with. Mostly I just avoid her and do my own thing. So that avoiding means the dislike. So whenever mind creates the likes and dislikes, it is being subjective. I become subjective and I cannot do without that girl, and then I am suffering, unnecessarily suffering. That is only, this teaching now is only for the greater, higher level of a seeker. I don't see the GPS, what I am to do, what I have to do, how I have to live, how I have to think, but I add some spices into my life with the likes and dislikes, and it causes the delusion. And this is what we say is a superficial life. Our superficial life lives in delusion. We are not aware of it. What is that super? I will not talk. I do not like. Or I like both. These are the expressions we always use in our daily life. I like, we have created one superficial layer, and then I talk to you, I become subjective, I strengthen the superficial layer of the delusion, and one day, make sure, one day, what you like, you will dislike. So the master says, don't allow the mind or the mind to get an emotional dependence. Don't allow the intellect to have an intellectual paralysis. Instead, just become aware of it. So when I become aware, whether I like or dislike, it doesn't hardly matters. What is the situation? Let me understand what is the situation. What is the event? What a person is. Otherwise, we have been running our mind with the likes and dislikes of a particular situation, relations, people, objects, condition. Every day we create lot of impression in our life, and with those impressions they multiply in our head, and we create superficial life. Four steps instead of those I told you. The first step is suffering. The word or word is suffering or suffering. Suffering has 7 steps, I have told you. The remedial steps is the satsang. The third is the experience. I must experience the change in my life. Once I contemplate and reflect on these principles, if I don't contemplate and reflect and I don't experience the change, then the Eastern wisdom is just a waste. It is an intellectual exercise. I have to apply it in my life. And then at the same time, then there is a self-remembering. I gave you the 4R. So these are the 4 fundamental steps. What is a commitment to the self-discovery? When you have committed to the self-discovery, it has to remove all the suffering. Do you remember the world is suffering in 7 steps? Do you remember the satsang in 6 steps? Do you remember the realization means that changes in my perception and new experiences takes place? I change my perception. I create an image when I hate you or when I love you. I create an image in my mind, and that becomes the subjective. That causes the problem. So I need to change that perception. That is the 3rd major step. And the 4th is just the self-remembering. Satsang means that I have to turn the mind inward. I have to filter out if I made anything objective, subjective, I have to get rid of it. So once you get rid of that objectivity, you return to the objectivity, what you made subjective, you have a deeper insight in your intellect. The intellectual paralysis is gone, and we enter into a higher level of awareness by understanding. So, the first is that either you say the world is suffering or there is only a suffering or the entire world. So we have already understood the foolishness, the scattered mind, the attachment, the emotional dependence, the selfishness or the ego, intellectual paralysis, and we are just, mind is jumping on constantly changing the desire. And the verse, the 8th point, that we say the world is suffering. I have to follow these remedial steps where, anywhere, anytime, anywhere, in all the locations, I have to change my perception in the mind. When you change your perception, it changes your level of awareness. So I have to challenge the false perception, false assumption. That is the first. The second is the satsang, but I summarized it as a satsang. So the 3rd one is instead of delusion and the duality, I have to move to the dispassion and discernment and dispassion. So then I recognize what is false self, what is real self, and ultimately another word that I have. So just check it. Is the mind working on me or I'm working on the mind? So if you are working on the mind is 100% available to you. That is the meaning. Mind is 100% available to you. If the mind is 100% available to you, you are free from the suffering. So today we are taking the commitment to the self-discovery brings an end to the suffering. And then we understand self-remembering. Now the today's verse is very symbolic, and that is why we need a teacher. Understand this very, I would say, you need to contemplate again and again. If I translate this verse He says that seeker who wears a dress made of rags that lie about in the street. It's very symbolic. Oh, so it means, I pick up any dress and wear? No. He who walks in the path that is beyond merit and demerit. That seeker whose mind is given up to yoga, given up to the practice, reveals the real self, just as a child or as a madman. This is the verse. Now we have to symbolically what metaphor is? The seeker adorned in the cloth stretched from the discarded rags. He walks the path beyond ideas of right and wrong. His mind immersed in communion with the real self. Again, the four statements are there. Revels in the supreme self like an innocent child. This is the verse. Now see what it means. The first, non-identification with appearances. I give lot of importance on my appearance. First impression is the last impression. How many of you have got the first impression and it was the last impression? You know it already. Detachment from the social conditioning. That is the second meaning. Absorption in the state of dispassion and the resting in childlike happiness. That is another way to understand it. Let us go a little deeper and understand the meaning of this. So wearing the rags conveys no reliance on external appearance for the self-image. You do it for yourself. You grow your beard for yourself, not for others. You shave your beard only for yourself. You think like this. It need not to be done for others. And if you are doing for others, you are going to invite likes and dislikes. So second point here in this verse, walking beyond the dualities means, I like it, I dislike it. Become aware and alert. You can express I like it, but internally it should not cause any emotional dependence. Are you getting it? It should not cause any emotional dependence. I have to remain aware of that. And absorbed mind indicates mind is totally absorbed deeper inside in the state of dispassion. And the fourth point, then what happens? Your expression, your thought, speech, and action will be like a child. So many people, what happened, many people read this verse and they said, okay, I will do with only one pair of clothes and then I will become a great master. It has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with that. A lot of people you might see in this society. I'm a pure vegan, but your palate, attracts you when your friend serves something else and you are ready to eat. Otherwise, I'm a pure vegan. That duality in the mind should not be there. So here the meaning is that I'm unconcerned. I have the dress for myself only, and I'm unconcerned about what do you feel, what do you say. But there should be a minimum cleanliness. There should be a minimum cleanliness. Why the master is saying? Because we start building our self-image. We become subjective with reference to the dress, with reference to the car, with reference to the home, with reference to our style of the hair, style of the clothes. We enter, we spend a lot of time within a gossip. Another point that he is saying that the moment any likes and dislikes enters into your mind, just check it. Is the like and dislike continues to stay in my head? I have to remove it. Otherwise, it will result into the intellectual paralysis. I will not be able to think clearly, and it results into delusion. So, what to do at that moment? Let the mind lives in dispassion. Let the mind lives in discernment and dispassion. We already know it now. Such a seeker revels in the real self with a childlike innocence. This is what the master is saying. Such a seeker revels the real self with a childlike innocence, because whatever the outer conditions, situation, people, relationship, thought process was spent in creating a self-image, it results into a delusion. So I have to get rid of that delusion completely. Do it for yourself. Let us go a little deeper. The clothes signify our self-image and ego. Think of it. This master has written almost 2000 years ago. In those days, we did not have, what we say, catwalk and the dress. We did not have those things. But still, the master has such a penetrating eyes, perception. Clothes signify our self-image and ego. Stitching rags symbolizes reconstructing self-identity. That is the symbolic identity beyond societal conditioning and arrogance arising from the power, from the ideals, from the intellectual concept. It represents, so what it represents? It represents the utmost humility. Do you see the humility at this level? Don't start wearing rags to claim that I'm awakened. That too is a bigger problem. That would be a hypocrisy. Walking beyond merit and demerit means walking beyond the likes and dislikes in our daily life, transcending the frameworks and operating from the inner wisdom. Now, I have not to be guided and dictated by, like the women who says, this girl works at my office, and then I have a disliking. What I have to do with it? I lose awareness, and then I will miss the point. And one day I have to fight. Actions arise from spontaneity, not fear or reward. When your mind is clear from the likes and dislikes, then you have a spontaneity. Not judgmental mind, but the discerning intellect is allowed to work in the world all the time. An absorbed mind. Now what happens? Your mind is not running after reconstructing a self-identity with the clothes, with the position. Clothes also includes into what I have, what I possess. Whatever you possess will remain yours. But I don't create a burden on my mind. That is important. Second is, I have to check again and again whether the mind is constantly running after the likes and dislikes with reference to a particular situation, people, relationship, etc. No, I have not to go there. So what happens? With these two factors in your mind results into a spontaneity, no fear, no anxiety. You are ready to speak out and think and speak and act. But then what happens? There is a one caveat that you are not judgmental you have a discerning intellect. So then what happens when you live in a dispassion, your mind is already absorbed into that state of consciousness which, which gives you the insight. So what happens? That insight brings the spontaneity of a child. But if you don't follow all those 4 steps, nothing is going to happen. So that is why the satsang is very important, consistent listening and learning, and ultimately we reach into that higher level of awareness all the time. Another meaning one master gives that I have a less reliance on external things for my self-definition or validation. This is another way that when you say that rags, stretched rags are put on the body, no. It means that I have a very least reliance on external things for self-definition or validation. There is a party, yes, you have a dress and you have particular clothes, you go and wear it. But don't get conscious of that. Doesn't mean that you are not living in the world, but you think, speak, and act in the world with the wisdom, not with the delusion. Do you think that it is so simple? Tomorrow, if you have go to a party, you'll definitely forget it. And then in the middle, you will remember it. So that is what the self-remembering works. Root identity is my real self, which is untouched by the external phenomena. That is the meaning. So I absorb that ego mind deeper inside, going beyond the likes and dislikes. And that will result into a constant awareness of the self. That will prevent you from lot of challenges, either the anxiety, the duality, the reaction, and the conflict in your life. One master also gives another explanation. I love that explanation. He says that like how children engrossed in a play wear whatever is available without self-consciousness. We should have a clear, clean clothes. Purity should be there. Cleanliness should be there. But if I'm more conscious of it, I'm attracting other people with my outer appearance. That is where I get caught in the likes and dislikes. I have to be aware. Commitment to the self-discovery should always be there. I walk completely beyond the merit and demerit, beyond the likes and dislikes. Our mind is constantly dictated by societal conventions of right and wrong, virtue and the sin. I have to examine it. That is the first step, foolishness, false assumption. I have to challenge those false assumptions. Can I keep my mind absorbed in that state of awareness all the time? Yes. The moment you wake up in the morning until you retire to the bed. That is going to change your behavior and attitude. It has to be since you wake up in the morning until you retire to the bed. You are able to change your behavior and attitude. You will be able to get rid of the likes and dislikes, and that state will fill your mind with discernment and dispassion and the childlike spontaneity, and you'll be free. So now the master is going a little deeper. So that is what the master is saying. Revels like a child or a madman, like an innocent child. Your mind is like an innocent child or someone madly drunk on the divine liquor. My master used to say that you have to divine, the cup has to be empty to pour the divine liquor, and that cup is the mind. The mind has to be pure, and the mind is pure only when we get rid of dislikes and dislikes. When we are not too much concerned about the outer appearances, outer possessions, situations. I'm not influenced and carried away by the world, people, situation, condition. Otherwise, that level of awareness will not come. So just think of it, the four aspects: wear the dress of rags, symbolic, metaphor. I have to see what I have done for my self-image in the world. Self-image has no value at all if it is created from the outside. You are so good, sir. I love you, sir. It happened for a couple of years, and now the same guy hates me. Because I challenged his false notion. So that is also a self-image. So self-image created by anything from outside is going to backfire you one day. If you are running with the likes and dislikes, that is definitely going to hurt you, because likes and dislikes results into attachment, results into emotional dependence. At the point, the time will come when you have an intellectual paralysis. One example I gave you of this young guy. I gave 200% to this girl. I said, who told you? This is intellectual paralysis. No, it applies to both, Either you give 200% to a boy or a girl, it is the same. Why? Why you give 200%? And then he met in the restaurant, and then again he is disturbed. He did not talk to her, but he saw. So my self-image. I gave 200% and she is even not talking. Because of the strong likes and dislikes. So once these are gone, we have a childlike spontaneity in our life. And childlike spontaneity is full of discernment and dispassion. When it is full of discernment and dispassion, your life is full of peace and happiness, calmness, and the joy. That is the verse. Close your eyes. Eyes are closed. The Master is guiding us to each and every aspect. You may not imagine or think of it, but this Master is going to uproot all our delusions step by step. Eyes are closed, place, position, and the posture. Place, position, and the posture. I have given you some ideas of the place, position, and the posture. The place, I'm sitting in my home. Can I get rid of that image, that self-image that I'm sitting in home? I just become aware of the space just outside my body. The house is an extension of the space. Hotel is an extension of the space. Just become aware of that place. And then the position of the body. There is only one space. Mind picks up the self-image that here is my house, here is my room, here is my. And it is in Eastern wisdom, it is known as those who repeat constantly like a parrot, me and mine, are living in delusion. And that is where the self-image comes. Position of the body indicates if we are a seeker of higher order. You live in an extraordinary awareness in the position of the body. Eyes are closed and we are settled fastly. And then we are comfortable and carefree. Comfortable and carefree. Comfortable, it gives you an experience of sensation, comfort, and steadiness. And carefree, a sense of freedom from the thoughts of likes and dislikes, because only the thoughts of likes and dislikes enters into your mind. Now think of that, you are living into that state all the time. Will you be dictated by the likes and dislikes? Will you be dictated by your self-image? You just enjoy. The sense of freedom is there. And that is the right perception Buddha is talking about. We will continue our journey. And the next step is the Mangala Charan. I gave you one definition of Mangala Charan means. Mangal means auspiciousness and Charan means behavior. But there is another meaning. Master, why we are learning the Eastern wisdom and repeating the same principles? Because for every principle, we are going deeper and deeper and deeper. We will talk about in this journey that hope or the desire has 9 factors. And that is why we cannot get rid of the hope from our mind. Because we don't know all the 9 factors. One meaning of the Mangala Charan is moving forward. Where? Moving forward to the peace and happiness. That is why we have a mantra, Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. May there be happiness for all. I gave you almost 10 different meanings. Can you find out? Anyone, can you say in your mind? So when you say in your mind, you say with awareness. Happiness is my essential nature. It is the essential nature of everyone in the world. Will that help me to get rid of likes and dislikes? Think. That is why we are repeating. We are not repeating for the sake of repetition. For the sake of repeating, for the sake of conditioning the mind. No. For the sake of raising my awareness. So if the happiness is the essential nature of everyone, do I have to depend on anything outside? Answer is no. So do I have a sense of freedom if there is a sense of dependence is not there? Yes. Am I aware of that? Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Again think. So you think in line with these teachings, that is what the contemplation is. And when you share you have been sharing your experiences so beautifully, it comes out from deeper within. That is also a part of contemplation. So peace is my essential nature, or you can bring in any other that you remember. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam. May there be completeness in all. Now you see, can you relate today's verse with this line? Today's verse is self-image. I create a self-image, an identity based on objective things outside. Why? Because I feel the sense of incompleteness in me. So I want to fill that gap. I want to feel complete by a lot of stuff outside, by the car, by the possessions, by the house, by the clothes. This is all about the self-image and identity. By having a beard or not having a beard, a lot of things. Sense of incomplete and sense of incompleteness. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Auspiciousness, may there be an auspiciousness for all. You discard this self image and the societal conditioning and the likes and dislikes, you will find you are already free, like a child. The child does not have that societal conditioning, is not worried about the self image. So it's a childlike mind. In that state, what we have been doing is the breathing to purify the mind. But we are adding the mantra to that, to the breath and to the step. At the same time, we keep the body steady. So it means I live in an extraordinary awareness, looking deep inside the forehead, in the space, and dropping Om Shanti, and start breathing quick and short breath into the rib cage today again. Rib cage in the state of the stillness in the body means there should definitely be some movement because you are breathing. There should be a movement into the rib cage, but the rest of the body remains still. Now you see that how playfully we have reached to 9 minutes. Last time also we did it for 9 minutes, and this also we did it for 9 minutes. So it has to be, the perfection has to be achieved slowly and gradually. And I told you, you are very clear. Sensation, relaxation, and stillness is there in the body. No movement. You are doing a chest breathing. You are dropping the Om Shanti. And if there are any resistances there, you are enduring it. So we will learn about the endurance in any situation, in any condition. You drop that subjectivity and you are free. You have a higher level of endurance that we are going to learn. If there is any resistance, endure it, and you experience the changes, you accept, acknowledge the changes that is taking place because of the breath, because of the Om Shanti. Just continue breathing. Do not stop in the middle. If you stop in the middle, it is because of the mind. But it's okay. Even if you stop it, you remember, you restart. Just continue breathing. Continue breathing. Om Shanti, stillness in the body. And you see it is a play and a fun for you. You are not, your mind is not overburdened. Continue breathing. One day we'll be doing all the 9 minutes, all the three breathing, and you will discover the whole day passes with a greater level of awareness. Continue breathing, dropping Om Shanti deep inside the forehead and stillness in the body. It's not a big deal for you all now. Endurance, if there is any resistance, and that resistance returns. On someday there is no resistance. Continue. Now leave this. Pay attention to the flow of the breath in the state of stillness in the body. Check the flow of the breath is equal. If it is not equal, pay attention to the flow of the breath which has a less flow to find out that within few seconds the flow becomes equal. And we understood that when the flow of the breath is equal, make sure that your mind is already absorbed deeper within. You are living in a higher level of awareness. What problem comes to whether we recognize it or not? That's a contradictory statement. No. We have millions of impressions in our mind that dominates, in spite of having a free flow of the breath from both the nostrils. So that comes gradually. Once the mind is fully settled with that state of purity. So you are aware of the breath only, the flow of the breath at this moment, and at the same time, you have two natural experiences, that is sensation, relaxation, and stillness, and a sense of calmness and quietness is there. In the beginning, we are holding the mind not to move the body, but now there is no need. We feel a natural state of calmness and quietness. That means the mind is already within. We are not under the spell of delusion, either of the seven factors. In that state, you start breathing deep, silent, and slow. So when you breathe deep, silent, and slow, first you inhale into the belly, then into the rib cage. Exhale from the belly, from the rib cage. As you inhale, move the mind from the top center of the head to the tailbone, singing mentally, Om Shanti. Shanti ends at the tailbone during inhalation. Om begins during exhalation at the tailbone and ends at the top of the head. Om Shanti. So we are also checking at the emotional level if the mind is ready to take a leap deep inside. Deep, silent, and slow breath. So what normally happens during a regular practice, according to the science, it may appear very logical. Because we start deep, silent, slow breathing, our breath rate per minute drops to 4 or 5 breaths in a minute. And slower the breath rate per minute, it helps us to stimulate our autonomic nervous system, and which induces a deeper state of relaxation. We are able to influence the peripheral and chemoreceptors. Many research papers have been published on that. We are not going there just for the sake of your information. See, breathing, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. Breath is deep, silent, and slow. And if the mind continues to pay attention to the deep, silent, slow breath, it means it is not distracted. It is dropping Om Shanti in the spine from the top of the head to the tailbone, and from the tailbone to the top of the head. So another level of natural focus is there. Means that we want to keep our mind deeper within. We don't want to, so That is the seventh of the first group. The world is suffering. The mind is constantly changing its desire in the thought process. So we are holding it. So you look at it, if you look closely, all these, the entire journey, that will make a sense to you. Slow, deep, silent breathing, stillness in the body. Om Shanti continues, and there is a spinal awareness. So here we are not talking of any hallucination or imagination, and I'm not saying you to imagine or visualize. Shanti. Shanti. Let the time come, we will leave all these so called, if you say ritual, Om Shanti, we will leave everything. We will see then what happens. But as long as we are a journey, we have to drive the mind like we have to drive the car as long as we are in a journey. And now leave this directly. We will move to the triangle inside the cave of your heart. Visualize or see the triangle of any color deep inside the heart. And then move the mind with Om Shanti on each side of a triangle. When you do clockwise, anti-clockwise, and you find that there is a sink. Mind is ready to go deeper within. Our mind seems to be absorbed. That is the point where you sing mentally, and you are pushing the mind deep inside the cave of your heart. Mind seemingly stops. You drop Shanti and do nothing. So you simply awaken to self-absorption consciously, not instinctively and impulsively. And you stay there. Well, if the mind returns again with lot of thoughts, you can again sync with Om Shanti and same state, same practice you are doing every day, and you absorb yourself. That would be a good journey. The faster progress will take place. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your Buddha palms, place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences. Bring the hands down. Let's share our experiences. And how are you, David and Jerry?
Very good, thank you. Loving the lesson and looking forward to this next chapter. The whole endurance was kind of the theme for me during the entire practice in meditation, and it's we're built up of all these impressions that we get through education, experiences, and other things, and it's just you spend time to just kind of like slowly release that and let it go, and it's just very freeing. So coming out of it now, I just feel totally unattached to anything. So thank you.
Yes, both are related if you look at the two lines of the verses. Because of the attachment, detachment, likes and dislikes. Because I dislike something outside. So what I like, it adds up to my self-image. And then I constantly building on the self-image. And that self-image has nothing to do with my real self, and it results into a delusion, and it creates a lot of challenges in our life as we continue to build up these things. Beautiful. Yes, and yes, you are right. Layer by layer, we have to remove it by layer, step by step. We have not to outrightly reject. So when we outrightly reject, we enter into hypocrisy. That is what the master is pointing out. How are you, Jerry?
Thank you, sir. Good. Really deep, absorbed, quiet. The meditation went by very fast, and deep sense of connectedness. There's no need for an image.
Yeah, there's no need for an image. Yes, there is no need for an image, and deep in absorb. So what happens even when we are living a social life, the worldly life outside, when we wake up in the morning, we feel a kind of self-absorption all the time. So that helps us to get rid of that self-image also. So we are just, you are totally carefree and comfortable in your thought, in your speech, in your action, in your personal, professional, and social life. That is from where the mindfulness awakens in the mind. How are you, Samir?
Sir, meditation was very, very penetrating, and I was totally deep into it. And now, before I used to think that I can solve the problems of life by becoming upset. Now I think that I can solve the problems in peace, and I am developing the potential to remain in peace while there is some problem outside, and I am able to solve it more wisely, and decisions are more in my favor than before.
You see, you are really in peace. That's why your expression is also coming out of the peace. That is the way. Yes, you rightly said. We think that if I get upset, I'll be able to solve the problem. But the fact is that when the mind lives in peace and in that awareness, I can perceive with a penetration what is the problem, and the problem is nothing but I make everything subjective. I make everything personal. And that is the only problem which causes the delusion. So yes, you are right. In peace, we can definitely solve all the problems of our life. Beautifully said. And how are you, Brandy?
Morning, I'm good. My experience was kind of like Sunita in that sometimes when I come to my meditation practice, it's like the place where I'm in peace, when the peace should be applied to all the things outside, kind of along with your lesson, instead of the relying on the external, right? The ego and the stuff for whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's not just this time that I come to meditation. That's peace. The peace is actually all pervading.
Yeah. Peace is all pervading, but because of the delusion, or you can say the self-image, or first group of 7 factors. Any of these 7 factors take over the mind, and then we are in stress. We continue to suffer in our life. Yes, beautifully. But yes, you are also right that peace is all pervading. It is present all the time, in all locations. But why I can't see it? Because of the delusion. I don't see it because I have a self-image. Beautiful. How are you, Dennis?
It was a deep, calm, and peaceful meditation with, I would say, uniform and uninterrupted awareness of the deep, dark space inside of me. Thank you.
Good. So there is a uniformity. There is a continuous state of awareness is maintained where we discover and experience that nothing is disturbing me. So what it means, nothing is disturbing me? Those thoughts are not disturbing me. How those thoughts are there? Thoughts are there because of the conditioning, because of the self-image. Think in this way. So the more we think in this way, beautiful clarity. And how are you, Christina?
Thank you. I noticed needing to use more endurance today with some distractions and then sticking with that. I think you mentioned layers. I could feel the layers of conditioning and thoughts just peel away, and a sense of freedom resulted.
Yes. What David also mentioned, there are layers. So there are many layers. I say you close your eyes and be comfortable. And the moment I hear the word comfortable, with that comfort, lot of thought also pops up. So these are the different layers. And the time comes when I say you are comfortable and you are already settled completely. So it means now those layers are not disturbing me. Obviously, we need an endurance, and that is also a pointer to a higher awareness. How are you? If you are able to speak, Terry. If no, it's okay. You say just raise your raise your hand and bye. That's okay. That's okay. Yes, that is okay. Live into that state. So think of this, contemplate, and do the practice. That is all for today. Thank you very much. We'll meet again.
Namaste. Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.